Well. College football fans, Clemson Tiger fans, welcome back to another edition of the Clemson Tigers pregame show here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Tiger Paul Craven. And ladies and gentlemen, it is week 11 of the college football season already. I know, I'm sure you can't believe it, as I cannot believe it myself. We are already in week 2 of the November portion of the schedule of college football, which means the regular season is winding down super fast on us, guys. But we will enjoy college football while it lasts. This is the time that we cherish as college football fans, and we look forward to talking about the upcoming matchup between our Clemson Tigers and the Louisville Cardinals. Okay. We will get into that momentarily. But before we do, if you are not subscribed to the channel already, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button, okay? It's a personal goal of myself and the rest of this panel that comes on here and does these live shows for you every week to get to 4,000 subscribers on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel by the end of the season, okay? By the end of the regular season, we are looking to get to 4,000 subscribers. So if you could help us out with that, It'd be great. We greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're in the chat, if you're in the live chat right now, we will get to your comments later. We will do shout outs to the chat and all that kind of stuff. But go ahead and hit that like button for us. It helps us on the live videos. Okay, it gets it out there so other people can find it. We appreciate that. And last but not least, if you would like to support the show monetarily in any way, shape, or form, I got a banner scrolling across the bottom of my screen right now. Links are also in the description of this video. And last but not least, you can use the super chat feature at any point in time in this video, and we will highlight your comment. We will respond to you, and we will make sure your question or your comment is heard by every single person on this panel and all the listeners that are joining us tonight. So again, thank you for joining me. But without further ado, we need to get into this preview. We need to get into this breakdown between Clemson and Louisville. So I'm going to bring on my panel. I got a couple guys joining me tonight. You guys know them. That's why you're tuning into this show. First and foremost, we got Jordan Bowman in the house, and we have none other than our college football historian, DeAndre, in the house.
That's good, y'all.
Fellas, how you guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
Everybody feeling good?
Jordan, we can't hear you, bro.
I do this every time. But I said I was feeling good, but I was like, well, that's probably a little bit of an over-exaggeration. I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
Kind of gotten a little bit of the taste, the bad taste out of my mouth from this past weekend.
Right.
I'm ready for to move on. I know we're gonna have to talk about this,
we are
this Louisville game in light of what happened this past weekend. So we're not going to be able to completely avoid this conversation, but I'm doing better. Certainly doing better than I was Saturday night.
As am I. I will echo Jordan Bowman's comments in the fact that I am feeling and both doing better following it. If you guys watch me and Jordan's live reaction to the game immediately following it, we were not happy, to say the least. We weren't necessarily mad. I don't think we were mad, Jordan. I just think we didn't know really what to say. I think we were just like, wow, like that really just happened. Like I didn't see that coming. So while we cannot avoid the Notre Dame talk within this video, because it does play into some of the context with which we go into this game with, we will try to minimize it as much as we can. Okay?
Yeah.
Not that we're not going to talk about it, but we're not going to harp on it anymore. What happened, happened. We said what we said in the post-game reactions, and we are going to move on. Okay? Yes, John Sarin, you are absolutely right. We were all stunned. Especially, like, not necessarily losing, because hey, anytime you line up on a college football field, anything could happen. You can lose to anybody on any given week, and that's a fact. But the way in which we lost was really the problem. But let's not harp too much on that, okay? Thank you, Jordan Bowman. Thank you, DeAndre, for getting in with me on this preview game. On this preview, we are previewing number 10. Most people thought Clemson was going to drop further than that. They did in the AP and the coaches poll, but in the college football ranking, Clemson dropped to number 10. We are still top 10 at this current moment. We'll see how long that lasts based off of what happens this week, right? But we're still a top 10 team. We are going up against a Louisville team that's on somewhat of a winning streak, right? So what I kind of want to do, guys, is I want to set the stage for kind of the momentum, the mentality, the narratives around the program coming into the game, right? So
Hold on. We got to talk about the history of this rivalry.
Well, they've never beaten us, so what do you want to talk about, DeAndre?
Yeah, right. Hey, but wait a minute.
Okay, all right. I'll let you go.
Yeah.
But hey, look, everybody in the chat, before DeAndre goes, I just want to give my one historical fact that since Louisville has joined the ACC, they've never beaten Clemson. So But without further ado, our resident historian and college football aficionado, DeAndre, go ahead. Take it away, my brother.
No, Louisville has never beat Clemson, but I think we all were upset that Deshaun Watson got beat out by Lamar Jackson for the Heisman Trophy. We all know that Deshaun Watson was probably the best quarterback that year. They played a great game in Death Valley. Clemson ended up winning, I think, 34-30?
42-36.
Yeah, 42-36.
Yep.
Wide receiver ran out of bounds. Even tried to get the first down. I couldn't understand that one, but it helped us out. But that's one historical fact that about this rivalry that we need to talk about is that Deshaun Watson got the Heisman stolen. Don't get me wrong, Lamar Jackson got off on a great start, but if you look at it going towards the end, Lamar wasn't that good. But hey, it goes on. Deshaun Watson's still the best. Outside of Cam Newton, 1A, 1B, they're the best two quarterbacks ever in college football to me.
You got any other facts for us, DeAndre, or is that it?
That's it, man. Very short rivalry series.
It is short, yeah.
7 games.
But with that said, with the short rivalry, we have, or the short matchups that we've had, like we haven't been playing very long. But I will say we've had some pretty epic games, especially when it was like Deshaun versus Lamar. I mean, those were some epic games back in the day, man. If you can call that back in the day. I don't know. It hasn't been that long, but
yeah.
Edward gets in, says, plus Lamar last 4 games that year, he played like dog water. Dang,
Yep.
Edward.
Yeah, that's one way to.
Dang, dog water. That's messed up, bro. That's messed up. Dog water. All right.
Yeah. And this first
I
couple
didn't
series
say it, but
close.
Edward said it, and y'all can add him for that one. Okay. What do you got, DeAndre? Go ahead.
No, I said the first couple games in the series was kind of close.
Yeah.
Then 2017, 2018, 2019 were blowouts. We then played in 2020. Then 2019, 2021 was Clemson came back and won the game. So at Louisville.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Heisman is more of a popularity vote and a performance vote second. Yeah, you're not wrong, John. You're not wrong. That's been proven time and time again by the voters. It's been proven that, look, I don't know how one goes into becoming a Heisman voter. I don't know exactly how that process works. But it's very clear that they don't actually know football. They don't actually watch very many games. It's more of a popularity contest. It's more of a media darling contest. It's more of who's being talked about most that season. That's kind of how I view the Heisman. And it is what it is. Look, it's still a prestigious award. I'm not going to take anything away from any Heisman winner. Look, they're all great players. Maybe we could find people that were more deserving than them in their particular season, but it doesn't mean they're not good players. So let's not get too wrapped around the Heisman. Yes, do I believe Deshaun Watson got robbed of a Heisman? Yes. Yes, I do. I absolutely do. But it is what it is. Look, maybe Clemson will never have a Heisman. I don't know. It wouldn't really affect me that much if we didn't.
I've resigned myself to us not having one. I mean, I'd say that that day will come soon, eventually. But
I mean, eventually,
I'm not holding out for it.
If you play the lottery enough times, right, or if you buy enough lottery tickets, you're bound to win something, right?
Right.
Whoever won that, what was the lottery up to this past?
Oh shoot.
I heard people talking about it. I don't buy lottery tickets.
I forgot the total, but
it was like in the billions, right?
Yeah,
it was like $2 billion or $4 billion. Was it $4 billion? Okay,
maybe.
Yeah, $4 billion, maybe.
Maybe someone in the comments knows.
But didn't somebody get the winning ticket or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Edward gets in, says, to be honest, they move the goalposts for the Heisman every year. Like I said, it's a media darling award. The media can influence the voters. I think most of the voters are probably media members, so it's already in the cards.
Yeah, and also the previous Heisman the winners vote on it too. But
Yeah.
Deshaun and Lamar had just got off to such a hot start, and Deshaun got caught on too late. So and also
Deshaun Watson went to back-to-back national titles and put up ridiculous numbers against Alabama. Yeah. So I don't want to hear any of that about how Lamar Jackson got off to hot starts. I know what you're saying, DeAndre. I know you're not defending him at all. I'm just saying, watch the tapes, bro. The dude was absolutely epic.
Oh no, I'm not saying he didn't. I said he got robbed.
Oh no. I know. I'm not attacking you. I'm just, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got you.
But let's quickly transition. Let's get off this Heisman talk. Let's get shout out to the chat. Let's get shout out to the people that make this show happen. Because if nobody was watching us, we might as well just talk to ourselves. So Philip Brister gets in. Appreciate you. John Sarian, our resident usual, gets in. Thank you. Edward, another one of our usuals, gets in. Clemson 22 gets in. Thank you, buddy, for getting into the chat. Okay. We really appreciate all the viewers of this channel. We really appreciate your comments. We appreciate you interacting with us, especially sometimes you guys bring up things that we're not necessarily thinking about. Look, it looks easy on your side of the picture when we're up here talking. Sometimes we forget things. We get tongue-tied. We sound retarded sometimes, okay? So thank you for getting in. Thank you for getting your opinions across and then kind of driving us in different directions, okay? You make us think about things that we're not necessarily thinking about in the moment, and we really do appreciate that, okay? But we do need to get into this Louisville breakdown right now, right, guys? We need to transition into number 10, Clemson, playing Louisville. This is quite the matchup this week, fellas. When you look at it on paper, Clemson should absolutely win this game. But a little recap of the season for everybody, okay? Clemson's coming off 2 not so good games, right? Let's be honest. We're coming off a Syracuse game in which we got behind early. Our defense bowed up in the second half. We pitched a shutout. We rode the running game to a victory. We had 4 turnovers in the Syracuse game. And the last possession for Syracuse, we picked the ball over. So we went 4-1 in the turnover margin versus Syracuse. Then we went into a bye week, and all of us Clemson fans, look, I was at the Syracuse game personally. Me and Smitty, who is usually on this panel, we went to the Syracuse game together. We watched it live. I was inside the stadium. It was an amazing environment, okay? Granted, it being an early game, it was an amazing environment, okay? But at the same time, we did not play well. DJ got benched for Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik didn't really light up the scoreboard at all. Like I said, we rode the running game to victory, right? Then we go into the bye week. We're like, hey, it's okay. It was one bad game. We'll figure things out. Dabo Swinney made it very clear in his exit interview from that Syracuse game that DJ is still our guy. We're still going to roll with him, and that's what they did. We roll up to Notre Dame. We're expecting a win, right? We go up to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a one-dimensional offense. Not to mention that the weather made them even more so of a one-dimensional offense. We talked about all of this in our post-game reaction. Both me and Jordan reacted to all of this. They were even more so of a one-dimensional offense, and for whatever reason, Clemson defense got completely obliterated. They got manhandled. They got sunned. They got whatever phrase you want to – they got worked, whatever you want to say, okay? Clemson got embarrassed by Notre Dame. Notre Dame is not that good. Clemson was ill-prepared. They did not have a good game plan coming in my opinion. and it just didn't work out for them. They deserved to lose the game, and they probably deserved to lose the game by more points than they actually did. At one point, the game was 21-0, and that's probably how they
28 to
deserve.
nothing.
28-0. Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. 28-0, and they probably deserved to lose the game 28-0. But it ended up 35-14. It is what it is. I'm not proud of that performance. I don't think any Clemson fan should be, or any Clemson coach or player is. Okay, so Clemson's kind of riding a down streak going into the game. Louisville, however, is kind of, it's the story of two programs. Louisville's on an up streak, right? They've had some bad losses this year. They've had 3 losses, most namely the Boston College loss, right? That was a bad loss. Look, Boston College is not a good team. And it seemed like Louisville was going to be relegated to kind of just this team that was super inconsistent this year. They couldn't really get the job done. That looked to be the team they were going to be. But they really rallied, behind Scott Satterfield. He looked to be losing his job early on in the season. Now, I'm not sure what's going to happen at Louisville, but they're playing much better. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They are attacking the football. They are some ball hawks out there. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting after the quarterback. They're producing tackle for losses. They are one of the top teams when it comes to tackle for losses, sacks, turnovers in the past 4 weeks. So with that said, there's kind of, I don't know how you guys feel, but, it feels like Clemson's trending down and Louisville's trending up coming into the game. We'll see what happens in the game, but that's kind of what it feels like setting up for the game. What are your guys' thoughts on all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you pretty much, summarized it. Yeah, I mean, it's really a tale of two programs. Louisville has really kind of looked like a completely different team over the second half of the season. They're 4-0. They're riding a 4-game winning streak. The defense, I think, has been the most impressive part of that team. They've really been a very very disruptive defense, especially up front. Creating a lot of sacks, tackles for loss, putting teams behind the chains, and they've really been a really scrappy group, even when the offense hasn't, lit up the scoreboard. I mean, they've held some, some decent to good offenses to season low, like point totals, yardage outputs. This is a very good defense, and Clemson is going to they're going to have a challenge on their hands, especially considering the issues we saw last weekend. So this is this is a really important game for both teams. Clemson trying to kind of right the ship here, and Louisville trying to secure its first win over Clemson. Time where they're riding high and they're starting to play their best football. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup, and I think that kind of explains why the spread is as close as it is. So
yeah. I mean, a 7-point spread. Clemson's favored by 7. We'll get more into the spread as the show goes on, but Clemson's a 7-point favorite at home in Death Valley, where they haven't lost since 2016, and they are an 8-1 team, and we have a 6-3 team coming in that has losses to the likes of Boston College. So that should say where we're at right now. That should say where not necessarily where the team's at, not necessarily where the reality of the Clemson program is at, but at least the perception of Clemson, especially in Vegas. They don't think we're very good. That's what that number screams to me. DeAndre, what do you think? What do you think about Clemson and Louisville coming into the game?
Like I said, their defense leads the league, the ACC in sacks, and
they do lead the ACC in sacks,
and in the interceptions, I believe too. One thing I'm worried about, not the fact I'm worried about it, but our digression on offense. And it looks like DJ's still having a pretty good year with 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions compared to last year. But I want to see more attacks up the middle of the field, instead of going sideline to sideline. And I think that's where we can attack Louisville. I'm kind of shocked that Malik Cunningham hasn't had the year that he was supposed to have. I think he has 8 touchdowns and 4 INTs, but he's also the leading rusher. And
yeah, I mean he's got like over 500 yards rushing as a quarterback. So.
And then last year, that's what killed us versus Louisville up there at Louisville. So we're going to see if we can contain him during the rush. And I think that's the key to winning the game is stopping Malik and taking care of the ball. Also, I'm kind of discouraged by our defense, sort of. I think we need to get more sacks and turnovers. We haven't had that ball hawking secondary like we have in the past, where we get a lot of INTs. So that's what I'm looking for too. But the main thing is shutting down Malik and not let him get outside for the rush on the what's that called? I forgot the type of offense they run, but this is the type of offense that give us a lot of trouble. Yeah,
they kind of run sort of a triple option in some respects.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
But the long handoff where you cut it back, the Broncos and the Redskins made it famous. It's like you string the quarter running back out and then he cuts back. I forgot what it's called, but their running backs usually have a lot of success. You got a lot of success off of play action too. So Clemson's got to be smart in that manner. I can't remember the type of offense that it's called. But, you see the San Francisco 49ers do it a lot nowadays too. But a lot of cutbacks, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. It's absolutely going to be a challenge for the Clemson defense when it comes to containing Malik Cunningham. He is the leading rusher. He can also throw the ball too. Let's not discount his arm at all. He can absolutely throw the ball. I don't know that his receiving core is enough to expose the Clemson secondary. I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the offensive versus defensive breakdown. But we are two programs trending in opposite directions currently. As much as Clemson fans believe that, or that it's maybe even a reality that we are in the playoff hunt, like I told you guys backstage, I won't hide from it. My kind of take on it is if Clemson's going to play like they did last week and the week before, I don't want to see that team in the playoff. I don't think they deserve to be there. I don't think that they have any business being there. So that's just my take. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic in any way, but it's just that's not a team that can compete. So why go? A team that, like, literally Notre Dame was the most one-dimensional offense that we have played all season going into a game. And the weather made them even more one-dimensional, and somehow they still dominated us. I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow. That's like you get your gut checked and they dominated you on the offensive and defensive side of the ball in the trenches. And I know going into the game, that's where we said the game would be won and lost. But I didn't think Clemson would be the one that lost that battle. And I don't think any of us thought that was going to be the case. But it is what it is. It happened. And we have to move on. We have to know that, hey, our coaches are paid to figure this stuff out. Our coaches are paid to make a good game plan. And we're going to move forward with the Louisville game. So, guys, let's kind of transition. Let's talk about Louisville's offense versus Clemson's defense, right? So we know that Louisville has kind of a mobile quarterback, right? Not kind of a mobile quarterback.
Kind of.
They have an elite mobile quarterback that can also throw the ball, and Malik Cunningham, right? A lot of people want to compare him to Lamar Jackson. He doesn't like that comparison, and I don't really blame him.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I don't really blame him. He kind of wants to be his own person, and I completely understand that. He is a he's a really good quarterback. He maybe has not had quite the season that he wanted to, throwing the ball with only the 8 touchdown passes, but the dude's a threat in both the throwing and the running game. He can pose a lot of problems for our defense. He can expose a lot of holes in our defense. So, what do you guys see going into this game with the Louisville offense mashing up against the Clemson defense? We have struggled in the past. We can look back. We can look back to what is it, Jordan Travis of FSU. What's his name from Syracuse?
Garrett Schrader.
Garrett Schrader from Syracuse.
Hell, even Furman.
Furman, right?
Yeah,
like we have struggled with these mobile quarterbacks that can hurt you in the running game. And we saw last week that you could just line up and run against Clemson's defense. Apparently, whether that continues to be the case, that's the last thing on tape. So, what do you guys see going into this matchup against the Louisville offense, against the Clemson defense? Do you think they will respond? How effectively do you think they will respond? And how effective do you think Malik Cunningham will be in the running game? Because I think that's the key for Louisville for the game. If Malik Cunningham can really get loose in this game, and he could hurt Clemson on the ground when it comes to both extending plays and then throwing the ball downfield, and then extending plays and scrambling, I think Clemson's defense could be in a little bit of trouble this week. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think the run zone.
What's that, DeAndre? Go ahead.
I was called by that read zone that they run with the running back. That's what
zone read. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you saw.
They're going to run a lot of it. They're going to run a lot of zone read.
Yeah, so that's their offense. So I think Clemson needs to show that we can stop an offense that run where the tight end comes back with the ram on our defensive end. That's what you saw Notre Dame and Florida State do. So we're able to neutralize that because they got a very good tight end, I believe. And when we're able to neutralize that, I think we'll be okay. But we got to get our tight ends. Boston College is technically, I think Boston College was before Florida State. I think Boston College was the first team to put up 6 offensive linemen and do that to us and run the ball in that type of manner. We got to find a way to make an adjustment on that. Sometimes I wish we would have went to a 5-2 and have put 5 defensive linemen out there because we are deep at defensive line and try to stop the run that way. But I know that's not how we play ball. So I think that was one of the biggest problems, those cutbacks. And that's what you're going to see a lot of Louisville do is those cutback zone reads that they do. Like I said, that's a famous offense that
and then I'm glad you mentioned that, DeAndre, because a common theme with our coaching staff in interviews, if you guys have been watching post-game interviews and interviews throughout the week with coaches, is they've been talking about misfits and people not playing with good eyes and all this kind of stuff. And that doesn't bode well when you're talking about cutback lanes and stuff like that, especially with a quarterback that's this mobile and that can also throw the ball down the field. Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah. It presents a huge challenge. And, this is an offense that's really they like to throw a lot of eye candy at you. They do a lot of receiver motion. Kind of force especially the linebackers and then guys in the second level to really use their eyes and really be disciplined in the run game. And it's going to be a really big deal for Clemson, especially with how, poorly Clemson's linebackers played last week. It's going to be important for those guys to, be in their gaps and be, sound and, be cognizant with their eyes because, Louisville's going to throw a lot of eye candy, a lot of motion to kind of get Clemson's defense off balance, and they like to run off of that. They use it in their play action game. It's a really, really tricky offense to stop. Scott Satterfield has a lot of, he's an offensive guy that has a lot of background there, and given Malik Cunningham's, mobility, it makes it that much harder to stop. So this Clemson defense is going to really have to be cognizant of that. And, we talked about Louisville's receivers. They don't really, the receiver group in general isn't great, but there is one guy you have to keep in mind. You have to keep your eyes on, and that's Tyler Hudson out there, a receiver. He transferred from Central Arkansas. He's been their leading receiver. He has just about 700 yards on the year. He's led their team in receiving in 5 of their 7 games. I'm sorry, that they haven't played 7 games. They played 9 in 7 of their 9 games. So, when Malik Cunningham drops back to pass, he's looking that direction often. Also, you got to keep in mind about tight end / H-back. They use him in multiple roles, but Marshawn Ford, he is a tough guy to deal with in the receiving game. He also blocks very well, very athletic, great size. So there is a lot. There's a few pieces on this Louisville offense outside of Malik Cunningham that Clemson is really going to have to key in on and not let them beat them. So it's going to be really important for this defense to have a bounce back performance and really stay in their assignments and be very cognizant of what they're supposed to be doing on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So highlighted comment says Edward gets in. Clemson is running for 176 yards a game, and a lot of the game plans haven't really used them well. Some games like Notre Dame or some of the early game. Yeah, so let's talk about this a little bit. John Sarin gets in, says he adds a dimension you have to keep in check, but he's far from Lamar in making home run scampers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's not Lamar at all. Look, he's not even close. But back to the other comment that Edward made, I do want to talk about a little bit of kind of the abandonment of the running. How many runs? And not to bring up the Notre Dame game again. Look, I know. Let's keep Notre Dame in the past. We're trying to look forward. We're trying to focus on getting better. But at the same time, you got to look at the game plan. You got to look at the scheme. How many times has Shipley run the ball? Does anybody know?
Against Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know because I even tweeted about it. Those.
Yeah, I know you did.
A couple people in here. A couple in here follow me on Twitter. Yeah, 12 times.
12 times.
He got
12 times
running it.
How in the world do you go into a game like Notre Dame and only run your number one running back, mind you? They're your number one running back 12 times. It's absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, that's true, but at the same time, I think we need to start going diagonally so much, especially in that win that we was playing in. Because when I watched the Ohio State and Northwestern game, one game I got to see, there was a heavy wind in that area in all the games when you watched them play. But
I think was. Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree. The running game got to be front and center today. You should start off running the game. I don't know how many times. Let me pull out the stats. I don't know if DJ even ran the ball. DJ ran it for 9 for 23 yards, but what happened to the quarterback run? And start trying to outsmart yourself. Kick the field goal. When it was 7 after the block punt, I think we had a chance to kick a field goal, and they went for it. Kick the field goal. I know because the wind was that bad, but kick the field goal. Play the game. Start trying to outsmart yourself and stuff like that. So I don't get it either. But I think that's our main problem. But I think our problem, I'm not trying to be funny, I know everybody wants to talk about the offense, but I mean, our defense, for the hype that they had, we played absolutely terrible. And this weekend, we get a chance to redeem ourselves this weekend against the Louisville team. Our defense got to come play. It's sad that Xavier Thomas is gone for the year again, but we need to come out and play better defense and protect the edges. And people need to play there and play their role. I'm sorry, I just don't like Wes. I don't think he's a very good defensive coordinator. I think DJ should have. I'm not DJ, but Dabo should have went outside of the family and got somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not there yet on Wes, but
yeah, I'm not there yet on Wes either. But I mean, I respect that. Look, that's your opinion, and I could see where, because, and here's where I can see it is we're starting to talk about a lot of the same things in the interviews after games. We're starting to talk about misfits and players not playing with good eyes and this, that, and the other. And it seems in week 11 or week 10 we should be some of those things should be corrected. So I do see some of that. I'm with Jordan. I'm not quite there yet, but we'll see. I do think
very good Florida State team, and then you give up 20 points in the second half or whatever when you blowing them out. I mean, you look at the Syracuse game. You letting the quarterback run get to you. There's no adjustments into what they're doing. Now, I can't give him that pass because if we go look at our problem, DJ, was 27 out of 39, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Where's the defense? You know what I'm saying? Why is the defense that is stacked with NFL talent, and we all know these guys going to go into the NFL, why can't you put a decent defense out there to stop another dang offensive line that's been terrible against Marshall, Cal, and all of them? That guy only threw for 27 yards. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he ever throw 400 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He threw for 85 yards. That's absolutely terrible. And
Philip Brister gets in, says 12 times. That is ridiculous. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's on the coaches. That's not on the players. That's not on execution. That's not on any of that stuff. That's on the coaches. So
you go back to the Furman game.
Clean that up. Look, Will Shipley has to run the ball more than 12 times a game. I don't care who the opponent is at this point. Will Shipley has proven that he's a dog. He's one of those guys. He has to run the ball more than 12 times a game. So that's just final. I don't care anything about it. You could talk about scheme. You could talk about matchup. You could talk about any of that type of stuff.
And you got to get off the line, run the ball. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, run the ball. Run the ball.
Well, we did it against Syracuse.
There's 40-mile-an-hour winds. Guess what? Guess what the best recipe for that is? Run the ball. Run the ball. Check those dudes up front.
He played a lot better than he did against Syracuse.
Yeah, he did. So we'll see.
Run the ball.
I love how we said we weren't going to rehash the Notre Dame game too much. I know
we are scarred.
I don't think
we're kind of all over the place right now.
We are. All right, let's get back on track, guys. So we talked about Louisville's offense versus Clemson's defense, right? They're obviously going to lean on zone reads, right? They're going to use Malik in the running game, which they should. They're probably going to try to test Clemson's DBs because I would if I was them, right? So how do you guys think that matchup ends? Just a recap on the Louisville offense versus the Clemson defense. How do you think that kind of matchup ends? I know they're going to try to probably run the ball in order to set up the run, but I do think Louisville has proven in the past couple games and their past 4 wins, they're willing to take shots downfield. So they're going to test this Clemson secondary. How do you guys think that goes? Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, it's I don't really know. That's kind of the question.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I mean, the hope is that a lot of the issues that we saw on Saturday are definitely are cleaned up. I don't think obviously I don't think Louisville's offensive line is nearly as good and as talented as Notre Dame. So
No, Notre Dame's always got, kind of an elite offensive line. They got an NFL caliber
right,
offensive line that's seemingly every year. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So I definitely don't expect Clemson to get thoroughly whooped up front like they did on Saturday, but I am really interested to see how they defend this run game because it is they
It's
had
gonna
issues. This defensive line had issues last year. If you go back to
Right.
last season, Malik Cunningham really had them up against the ropes until he got hurt. And it took a last minute goal line stand to win to win that game. So I'm really interested to see how they play because
that's been a trend in a couple Clemson Louisville games, right? The goal line stand, yeah.
So
I can remember one why Deshaun Watson was our quarterback. So that's kind of been a trend. But yeah,
right,
you're right.
So it's going to be difficult, and it's going to present a challenge. And I think this game is going to say a lot about this team's preparation, their ability to bounce back from a loss, because obviously this is the first time this coaching staff in this current form in their new roles, is the first time they've taken a loss.
Absolutely.
So to see how they respond to that, and how they go about fixing and correcting the issues from the previous game. It's gonna say a lot about.
And I like that you mentioned that. I like that. I like that you highlight the fact that this is the first time that this current Clemson team has experienced a loss together as currently constructed. Right. That's important. Okay, and it's going to be important going forward when we're talking about how this Clemson team responds. You're going to see on Saturday how much this Clemson team and these Clemson players are bought in to this particular coaching staff. Okay,
We lost
as
DeAndre.
much as people, we just lost DeAndre. Hey, say la vie, DeAndre. If you want to pop back in, hey, by all means, pop back in. But we are going to see exactly how bought in this Clemson team is to this Clemson coaching staff. And look, I think they are bought in. I think we can win 13 games this season. We truly can win 13 games this season. Okay, that's absolutely an option for Clemson this football season. Okay, as crazy as people thought it was for us to win 10 games last season, we can win 13 this season. Okay, has the past few weeks not been great? Absolutely, they've been absolutely terrible. We have not played well, and we've probably deserved to lose both games, but somehow, our talent pulled out the Syracuse game. And that was simply the defense just balling out in the second half, pitching a shutout, and then the offense just running us to victory, right? Which is even more puzzling about how we didn't lean on the running game versus Notre Dame. But let's leave it in the past, right? So we talked about Louisville's offense versus Clemson's defense. Okay, we know what Louisville's going to do. They're going to do zone read. They're going to run Malik. They're going to try to set up the run in order to set up the pass. They're going to take shots downfield. They're going to test the secondary. Okay, our Clemson defense has to be ready, and I think they will. I don't think anybody in Clemson has their head in the sand. At least they shouldn't, especially after this complete absolute annihilation that Notre Dame put on Clemson, because that's what it was. So we should be well prepared. We should be well acquainted that anyone can beat us. And if that's not the case, then we'll learn a lot about this Clemson team this coming week against Louisville. I really do think we'll learn a lot about this Clemson team and this Clemson coaching staff. And I like that you bring up the fact that this is their first loss as currently constructed. So we will see. So with that, let's go into, the Clemson offense versus the Louisville defense. The Louisville defense, they are opportunistic. They have produced a ton of turnovers, especially over the past 4 weeks, but especially in that Wake Forest game, right? They got 8 turnovers in that Wake Forest game. They turned Sam Hartman over literally at will, it seems, right? So I think they have maybe even 15 turnovers in the past 4 weeks or something like that. It's something crazy. And they got a ton of sacks. They got a ton of quarterback pressures. They got a ton of tackle for losses. Their defense is playing out of their mind. They're super confident. And our offense doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence right now. We seem to kind of be fumbling through the motions. We don't know quite what our identity is. I know Kyle Richardson was asked. I don't know if you watched the coach's interviews at all, Jordan, but I know Kyle Richardson was asked this week about what is the Clemson's offensive identity, and he didn't really have an answer. He said it depends on the time of the season, and you go from game to game, and it was typical coach speak. But at the same time, what is your take on Clemson's offense heading into this this Louisville defense that has been really opportunistic these past 4 weeks, and they're on a high. They're riding high. They're confident. What's your take?
Yeah, well, first things first is you have to take care of the ball better than you have these past couple of games.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean play ultra conservative and all that, but this team can't afford to turn the ball over. This as you said, this Louisville defense is really opportunistic. They forced, I believe, 24 turnovers on the season. They are a really they're very good at that. At forcing turnovers. And this Clemson team has shown that, it can kind of snowball on them when they start, coughing up the ball. So first and foremost, I think that's the biggest key. Second, you have to establish the run here. If there's any place where Louisville's defense isn't, outstanding, it's, in the run game. I mean, they're not a bad run defense, but there are teams that have been able to run on them this season. And I think, with the guys you have up front and the guys you have at running back, I think that should be the I think that should be the philosophy. I mean, even Dabo said in the press conference that, this Louisville defense is very similar to Syracuse and kind of how it's constructed and how they play. They're just bigger. So, they don't have like a 250-pound nose tackle. They have some actual size up front.
They got some dogs.
Yeah. Most notably, I believe he leads the team in sacks.
Who was that? I'm sorry.
At defensive end, Yaya Diaby.
Yeah. That dude.
Yaya.
Hey, look.
Yeah, he's good. I believe he has 6.5 sacks on the year.
Better be ready.
They're very, they're pretty stout up front. Got a solid defensive line, but I think you have to be able to push them around. They're much better in pass rush situations than they are in the traditional run game.
Yeah.
So I think establishing the run and really leaning on them. I think not throwing when you don't have to, or forcing the ball, because this. I mean, if you make a mistake, this defense will make you pay for it. Louisville has some really nice corners too. I really like Catrell Clark. I think he's a future NFL guy. He has one interception on the year, which went for a touchdown. But teams aren't really throwing his way, so they're going to. It's going to be tough, especially with the way Clemson's receivers have not really been the best at getting separation or getting open this year. They've got some dudes in the secondary and that are playing really well. So the linebackers are really good as well. Yasir Abdullah is one of the best linebackers in the conference, I think. Just the way he's playing, he plays fast and free, creates a lot of tackles for loss. Very, just a very good player. very experienced too. So, this Louisville defense has talent at all three levels. But I think your best bet is to, take your chances leaning on the run and take shots when they're there. But I think it's a very simple formula. That's really all there is to it. I don't think this staff needs to overthink it or try to outsmart themselves. I don't want to see a ton of screen passes and because especially with how physical Louisville's corners are. Just keep it
the
simple.
The last thing anyone wants to see is screen pass you roll their offense out there on the field this weekend. Okay, the last thing I want to do is see incomplete passes behind the line of scrimmage. The last thing I want to see is throwing the ball out to the right and the left. I'm kind of sick of it, man. Like, look, we need to attack downfield if we can, especially the middle of the field. Like, why can't we run slants across the middle of the field? Why can't we use our big body tight ends across the middle of the field? I don't know. Look, I'm not a coach. I'm not Dabo Swinney. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I don't pretend to be a genius at football, but I have watched a ton of football in my life, and you can tell when an offense is not good and an offense is struggling, and that's Clemson's offense over the past 2 weeks. We've been struggling. For whatever reason, we are struggling. I think we need an absolute scheme kind of overhaul, if you will, or kind of a restructuring of what we're doing on the offensive side of the ball. But that's for the offseason for the time being. Yes, I do think, look, you got Will Shipley and Phil Maffa in your backfield, and you probably have a Kobe Pace that is close, if not already healthy enough to run the ball for you. So pretty soon we're going to have a three-headed monster back in the backfield for Clemson. So why can't we just man up, run the ball, and do that kind of thing, and then use the run to set up the pass and get our quarterbacks comfortable in the passing game when it's a little bit lighter. It's not so much coverage, right? So if we can do that, I think it'll be good. As far as Louisville's defense, look, we're going to have to take care of the ball. What DJ can't do this week is hold on to the ball and hitch and hitch and hitch and hitch back there and look for the perfect throw, because at the end of the day, Louisville's has been getting pressure on the quarterback. They have been getting home on the quarterback, and it's not going to work. He's going to take several sacks this weekend if he's going to look for the perfect throw. That's my opinion. I don't think it's going to work out well if he's trying to look for the perfect throw, which is what the excuse the coaches give DJ for holding onto the ball so long. So it's not about the perfect throw. It's about the throw you can complete, DJ. Just throw the ball up there. Give the receivers a chance to make a play. If they don't make a play, hey, it is what it is. Okay. But this offense has to become more creative. This offense has to – they got to be better, man. They have to be better. This defense is going to come after this Clemson offense, especially coming off of a game like Notre Dame where we got completely physically embarrassed against an inferior team. They're going to come after us. Look, make no mistake about it. Louisville is coming into this game, and they are super confident. They thought they should have won the game against Clemson last year, and they're looking to win it this year, especially when Clemson's coming off of that dominating loss against Notre Dame. They're going to pressure the quarterback. They're going to challenge the offensive line, and they're going to try to make DJ win the game with his arm. And he's going to have to make quick decisions and throw the ball downfield. And if that can't be done, then I think it's going to be a long day for the Clemson offense. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, you said it. Yeah, this team can't afford to. They can't afford to. Yeah, obviously, they can't afford to play how they did on Saturday. I mean, Louisville is a very aggressive defense. I believe they blitz quite literally
They
50%.
blitz literally all the
Yeah,
time. They're
yeah,
like it's like Brent
quite literally every other
Venables
play.
is
Yeah,
is their defensive coordinator without Brent Venables being your defensive coordinator, right? Like they
yeah,
blitz all the time.
yeah, they do, and yeah, so they like to send a lot of pressure. They're very, um, and they send it from different directions. They'll blitz, they'll blitz. I've even when I've watched them on film, I've seen them blitz their corners. They are just
Yeah,
they like to send. There's
they
five
they
six guys coming at any given time.
yeah they come after the quarterback.
Right.
So
So uh,
we're gonna
it's
have answers for that this
absolutely
Saturday, and
right.
I would hope like if me and you that get to just kind of do this casually, I hope our coaches are ready for that because they should be. They get paid a lot of money, a lot more than we do because we get paid nothing. So we just kind of do this for fun because we love Clemson. But let's talk about the third and probably seeming in last game, the most important part of the football game in special teams. Last week, special teams really set Clemson behind, right? We had that first punt, it was blocked, and it kind of seemed like Clemson never recovered from that. What's your take on the special teams coming into the Clemson versus Louisville matchup?
Well, I will say that the only good thing about the special teams on Saturday, oddly enough, was the punting.
Yeah,
I don't
minus the first block, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
minus the punt, yeah, but I thought
But
Aiden
that's not on
Swanson,
the punter, though. That's not
right,
on
right,
the
right.
punter. Let's be
But
real.
I think
Yeah.
Aiden Swanson individually punted really well.
He did pretty good.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so but yeah, coming into this game, Louisville special teams unit is not nearly graded as high as Notre Dame's. They don't have
Yeah.
as good of a special teams coach as Notre Dame does.
Right.
Notre Dame has been a great special teams team all season. Louisville's isn't terrible. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I think they're not as they're not as aggressive. They haven't blocked as many kicks and all that. So, but
Right.
I think just kind of getting back to being fundamentally sound there, ending your blocks. I mean, hell, on that block punt on against Notre Dame, Rook, I believe Rook was back there in coverage, not coverage, but he was back there blocking, and he just basically watched the defender go past him and block. So that was
Like
strange.
why? Like
So
why?
so
What is
hopefully,
happening there?
yeah,
Right?
hopefully there's a little bit of a refresher course on your assignments and how that's supposed to be executed, so that doesn't happen again. But other than that, just one. I mean, BT Potter is going to make his kicks, but and two, just yeah, do your job on the special teams. That's really all it is. It'd be nice if we got something out of the return game as well, especially when you have an offense that's been struggling the past couple of weeks. Getting some hidden yardage, extra yardage would be ideal. But this is this is an area of the game I definitely don't expect to play as much of a factor as it did last week. But you still gotta be what you were in the previous games, because overall, special teams has been graded as one of the highest in college football. I believe it was like top 10, top 15 in the country. In
Yeah. I
most,
mean,
so
we've been
just
pretty good in special teams,
right.
and
So
we've performed. I mean, really good this year for a Clemson special team. Like, look, if you look in Clemson's past, expect like even over our national championship runs that we've had, we haven't been exactly great in the special team side of the ball. I mean, you go back to the first national championship under Dabo Swinney that we lost. You look at that onside kick that Alabama got. That kind of turned the game. That kind of turned the tide of that sort of game. And we haven't exactly been the strongest. I think this has been one of Clemson's stronger special teams. If I'm being honest, would you disagree?
No, I wouldn't, and I think it's especially with how well Clemson is that certainly has helped their special teams grade this year. Is a lot of block kicks, which was something that Clemson hasn't done a ton in the past. So that's good to see. But yeah, I think the unit overall has been good. Just maybe need a little bit of a refresher, and just when a team decides to get aggressive in their punt block. In their punt block scheme, and you just being prepared for that and being ready to know what to do. And other than that, it's I think the unit's been fine.
Yeah.
So
they've been good, man. They've been good. All right. So we want to get into some comments here. You got any comments you want to highlight?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jordan? Go ahead. I'll let you take control over that. I'll chill out here, and
right.
we'll react to some of the comments. Hey, you guys, get into the comment section. Get your comments in. Hey, if you want your comment highlighted without a doubt, then get your super chat feature in. Super chat us, and we will absolutely highlight your comment, respond, and react to it. But we're going to kind of get into the comment section. We're going to interact with our fans a little bit. And then we will end the show with our score predictions and our predictions for this Saturday. So, all right, John Sarin gets in, says, from my sampling, Pac D, Louisville, Cuse, we should be able to manage their D as long as we are 100% on ball security. That's been a question this past couple of weeks, right? We turned the ball over, 6 times this past 2 weeks? Jordan? 6 times,
yep.
right?
4 in Syracuse,
4 in Syracuse, and 2 in the Notre Dame game, right? Yeah. So
yep, and two of those turnovers went for scores. So
yeah, so not good. Not good. We got to take care of the ball. Look, first and foremost, Clemson has to improve on taking care of the ball. And then after that, we will worry about the rest. This offense has no rhythm in play calling. That's why it feels so bad. I agree, Edward. I agree. It has no rhythm. It needs a complete revamp. And yeah, I mean, look, I hope Dabo's paying attention. Look, I know Dabo is a great coach. I've never questioned him for the most part before, but he's got to wake up. He's got to see that these coordinators, they might not be it. And that's a real possibility. And he may be asked to make some really hard decisions in the offseason. And that's going to be tough for him. But, hey, that's why you get paid $10 million a year, right? Or whatever he gets paid.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how they close out the year. I mean, honestly, if I'm a betting man, I think I think both coordinators will be in their same roles next season. But that's a different story. I don't want to look too far ahead in the
yeah.
future.
We'll get into that in the season recap video, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jordan.
You want me to read the comment?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, John gets back in and says, another unknown is whether EJ will finally rise to the occasion since he's going to start in place of Bo. Yeah. That's a huge question mark. I mean, we didn't even really talk about
DJ. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. That's a great comment, John. Thank you for reminding me of that. That's something that I wanted to talk to that I didn't get into in my notes is EJ will be playing a much bigger role in this game than he has at any point in time this season, right? So we got Bo Collins that's kind of out. He may be out for several weeks. He dislocated his shoulder, right? So he's kind of gone. He's gone off to the wayside, right? So we got EJ coming in. Like, do you think EJ is ready? Do you think he's capable? Where kind of do you see him fitting into this offense? Maybe he could produce a spark. he has been sidelined for most of the season, whether that be on the depth chart or injury purposes. But this could be, if he performs well enough, this could be his breakout party. So what do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, and I'm really interested. I think the biggest thing for EJ is where is his head at? Because I think a lot of it has the reason why he hasn't been as seen as much as he just I don't know. I don't know if he's completely there mentally right now. I'm
Well,
sure he's a little more than a little frustrated. I mean, he's a third year guy, and he came in.
Doesn't it seem like it's been mostly mental with EJ though? Like I don't feel like it's ever been a question whether he could physically perform. I feel like it's always been a question of, oh, he's injured, he doesn't trust that injury, or he's just dropping the ball for whatever reason. That's what I've kind of feel like it's been for EJ. But go
right. So yeah, and I'm saying that it's definitely a lot of it is a mental thing, and when he's gotten out there, he does not block very well, and I think that's a lot of the reason why he doesn't get on the field more. There seems when he's been targeted, there's a lack of focus there. He's not necessarily being given as much effort. It's visible visually, like I mean, it appears that he doesn't always give the kind of effort, to when he gets targeted to really haul in the ball or out physical the DB or anything like that. And I think I'm sure he's more than a little frustrated as a third year guy. I mean, he came in as a highly recruited guy, 4-star, went to the same high school as Justin Ross in Central High School in Phoenix City. So I don't know. I'm really interested. It's going to be. I can't say I think he's going to have a breakout performance or anything like that. I have to believe, see it to believe it. But I think it's going to be important that he gets involved because
look,
teams have been kind of keying in on Bo Collins. It seems like the past couple of weeks because he does have such a good rapport with DJ, and so Louisville's going to be able to, devote their attention to some of our other receivers. So I think EJ is going to have to step up a little bit. He's going to have to get some targets and find ways to get open.
Yeah, we're going to need some guys to step up. We're going to need some playmaking. Look, let me ask you a question, Jordan. Okay, while we're here, while we're being honest. We're all Clemson fans in here, at least for the most part, I think. What is going on with our wide receiver room? And I know that's a broad question, and maybe it's not a fair question, but look, I feel like our wide receiver room, they don't get separation. They don't attack the ball. They don't make the quarterback right when he's wrong, and that's the mark of a good receiver, right? You make the quarterback right even when he's wrong. And I don't know. Like, is Clemson recruiting the wrong guy? Are we not developing wide receivers like we used to? What is Clemson's deal when it comes to? Because I remember once upon a time we used to be competing for wide receiver U. And now it feels like we just got some dudes out there, and they're like, they're okay, but they're not the elite of college football. What has happened? We don't have Mike Williams out there. We don't have Jordan Leggett. We don't have Hunter Renfrow. We don't have all of these other guys that have donned the Clemson uniform that have literally balled out for us. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean that's a question that could have like a million different answers.
Yeah,
and
I know it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's something that's kind of been a progressing issue in the past couple of years. I really couldn't tell you. I mean, there's theories out there. I mean, I don't necessarily think that Clemson is, evaluated the position as well as they have in the past, but I don't know if that's I don't think that's the sole reason. I think there's just guys that have not that they don't quite have the mental, I don't know, maybe not disposition. That's not the right word. I don't know. I don't know if they have the mental, the mindset that past Clemson receivers have had. It just doesn't seem like this is a very hungry group. And I mean, obviously, I don't know any of them personally.
Right.
So I can't say, but just kind of how they, how they play on the field. There's not really an alpha dog in the room right now. There's not really. I don't know who the leader of that group is. I mean, you would assume it's Joseph Ngata, just he's been in the program the longest. And
no, it's not. I can tell you that right now. It's not.
There just doesn't.
I'm not even in the locker room, and I can tell you it's not him.
Yeah, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of vocal leadership in that room right now,
Yeah.
and there's just something missing.
Let's be honest. Is that the problem with this Clemson team? Is that the problem? Like, as talented as this Clemson team is, both offensive and defensively, we got 5 stars literally all over this roster, and we cannot seem to put it all together. I mean, it seems like it's a leadership problem. It seems like it's a mindset problem. It seems like it's a lack of hunger problem with the Clemson program right now. And I don't know where that comes from, but that's just me as a fan perspective. That's kind of what I see. I see a lack of hunger in the Clemson program right now. And I don't know where that comes from. But that's what I see. I mean, you gotta want it. At the end of the day, you gotta want it. You gotta be able to. You gotta be willing to get up and work for it, and really grind and get the job done. And this defense, for one, came into the season compared to the 2018 defense, and they miserably failed. They fell on their face. They couldn't even remotely compare to that defense. That defense was hungry all season. This defense is not. And I'm not trashing Clemson's team by any stretch of the imagination. That's not what I'm saying. It just seems like they're not as hungry as past Clemson's teams, whether it be before or after national championships. It just seems like we are not as hungry, and I think that's the focus. We need to get the hunger back. We need to get the motivation back, if you will. How we do that, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room every day, so who knows, right? Oh, Big Mac in the house, or Big Mick, excuse me. I'm sorry. I always call him Big Mac because my brain's retarded. But Big Mick in the house, he's definitely a regular here. He says, I don't see any emotion, no leadership, and are they communicating on the sideline? You can't coach the will to win, the want to execute your play. Yeah, that's kind of what I just got finished talking about, Big Mick. Is I don't see the fight in this Clemson team. I haven't in a couple years, and it's kind of disheartening. I don't know what's going on, man. But that hunger has to come back. That want to has to come back. That fight to get to the top again has to come back. So we'll see. Hey, look, we still have all of our goals out in front of us this season. So I'm not giving up on this team by any means. So if you guys think that I am, you're wrong. Okay? We had a terrible game against Notre Dame. Screw Notre Dame. We don't care about them anymore. We got to move on, and we have to wrap up the rest of the season. Jordan, what do you got?
Yeah. All great points. This team really just they've got to find some, they've got to have some pride, and they've got to, get back to having that hunger that you mentioned, and Philip, he said Clemson has to get back to imposing its will as a team and as a program. I think that's a really great comment, and I think that's just something that this program has lacked the past couple of years, and so there's. And it's not it's not like Clemson has never shown that they can impose their will, but it's just has not been on a consistent basis. Not what we've seen out of past Clemson teams.
Yeah, and here's
and so that's kind
not
of
that not that Dabo would ever watch this channel or this show, but I feel like a lot of the coaches, and him included, they think like, oh, it's all negative. They want me to fire everybody. They think we don't know what we're doing and blah, blah. Look, Dabo and the rest of the coaching staff, if you ever were to see this, that's not the case. Look, the reason that we're so passionate is because we care. I don't want to go back to, striving for the humanitarian bowl or the whatever bowl. Yeah, what was it? I think I went to a bowl game in maybe 2013 when we lost to South Florida in Charlotte.
That was 2010. 2013 we beat Ohio State.
What was that? 2010.
2010, yeah, when we went
2010. Okay. Yeah.
The Meineke Car Care Bowl.
The Meineke Car Care Bowl. Thank you.
Yeah,
I went to that game. I actually spent money and bought tickets on that game. Okay? So I've been a Clemson fan for a long time. If that proves anything to you guys, okay? I spent money on that game. Okay? And I saw a Clemson team lose to a South Florida team that our old offensive coordinator or co-offensive coordinator, if you will, just got fired from. Okay? So that's how long I've been a Clemson fan. Look, I care about the program. I'm not criticizing just to criticize, but I don't want to go back to those days, is what I'm saying. So when we talk about, Clemson fans being spoiled, I don't think it's necessarily being spoiled. I think it's just we have a new standard for our program, and we should. Why should we not? You get paid X amount of dollars a year, and even if you didn't, there has been a new standard established for the Clemson program, and we should expect certain things, and we're not getting it. And if it's a coaching problem, that's your job. That's your job to identify, get rid of, and bring in the proper coaches. And if not, then it's your job to develop the current coaches that you have. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm interested to see what Clemson team shows up this Saturday against Louisville. Let's get back into the comments. What you got, Jordan? Dabo mentioned Spectre 2. He
hasn't been involved very much.
He hasn't been involved. So, Jordan, what do you think? Do you think there'll be a kind of scripted plan for the quarterbacks coming into this game, or do you think DJ truly is that dude? And then if he struggles, they will kind of play it by ear. What do you think happens?
Well, I mean,
I know that's a tough question.
I mean, DJ's going to be the starter, and
it's obvious. But he's going to be the starter.
Beyond that, I don't know.
Do you think they have any plan for bringing Cade in at any point?
They better
without DJ completely falling apart. Is what I'm saying.
I thought that's what you were saying, because it didn't seem like they had a plan when they threw Cade in on Saturday. So hopefully,
no, it doesn't seem like they've had a plan at any point in time this season, and I think that's
except for that first drive.
Yeah,
he
except
had
for the
against,
first drive of his
Georgia Tech.
career where he completely wowed us, and we were like, "Holy shit!" Like Cade's that dude. You know why Cade looked like that dude? Because that was a scripted drive.
Yeah.
Hello. So, do you think they have a plan for him, or do you think they're just waiting until DJ falls on his face again, and then they're probably going to throw Cade into another, non-advantageous situation where he, is forced to play hero ball? Because if that's the case, then why? Like, why even bring him in? I mean, yeah, like if you're going to put him in, and like don't put him in on the 5-yard line, backed up against your own end zone to make a play when you make a terrible offensive call. Like I don't know.
I mean, we could go on and on about it.
We could. But let's highlight a few more comments and get out of here. What do you say, Jordan?
Yeah, we'll give our score predictions
we'll give our viewers about 5 or 10 more minutes of highlighting comments, and then we'll get into our score predictions, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. Because shout out to the fans.
Actually,
They're the
I
reason
like this one.
that we have. Okay. So Jason G gets in. I haven't seen that name in the comment. Not that you haven't been in the comment section before, but I just haven't seen you in there. Have heard only really good things about Cole Turner. Wondering if Dabo is still figuring what game he will play, assuming he will redshirt.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. It seemed like the plan is for Cole Turner to redshirt. But I agree, Jason. I've heard a lot of similar things. The staff is really high on him. They think he's really progressing really well. He has a lot of really good physical tools. And they think he can be a really good contributor for them in the slot in the future. So. We'll see. I don't know if we'll see him much. It just kind of depends. I think they're just kind of they're keeping that in their back pocket. Maybe we've got 3 more games left of the regular season, and then the ACC championship, and then whatever bowl. So there's a chance that if they decide to play him in give him let him use those 4 games, it could be coming soon. But we'll see.
So before we move on from that, Jordan, let me just ask you your personal opinion. You think XT's coming back, or you think he's going pro?
Oh man, I don't
just
I don't
for
know.
like it doesn't really matter, I don't think, but it may matter.
Well, it matters, but
it matters for next year.
Yeah,
but for this year, it doesn't really matter. What do you think? You think, like, your gut feeling when you heard that XT was out for the year, but that he still couldn't make a decision to come back? What was your initial thought? You thought he was coming back, or you were like, yeah, no, he's gone?
My gut right now tells me that he's gone.
He's gone. Okay.
And I think it's just because he's been at Clemson 5 years. I mean, he has that 6th year if he wants to use it. But the goal was, I think he would have left if he had gotten a better grade last year. And so he really came back to. He
said if you saw some interviews in the offseason on, I think, who was I watching? I was watching. Have you ever seen Darian Rencher's Players Club?
Oh yeah,
on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still doing. I don't think he's doing it anymore because I haven't seen any more episodes. But he was doing it, and it was a really good show. And I think XT came on there, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm definitely going pro." And that was last year.
Yeah.
And then he came back this year. And I was super excited when he came back. I mean, you guys heard me talk about XT earlier on in the year. Like, that was a dude that I really love. He has faced so much adversity. I wanted to see him have a great year at Clemson and really, kind of elevate his NFL draft stock. But I agree with you. I think he's gone. I don't think he's coming back. But at the same time, I think he may not be remembered as much on the field, but I think he's like a solid dude. Like, that dude, I mean, he's still one of my favorite players, even though maybe he didn't exactly get it done on the field as much as he wanted to because of injuries and things like that. So Edward gets in, says Dabo said he wants to not burn his red shirt. So you'll see him the next 3 games more than likely.
Yeah, he's talking about Cole Turner.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. I didn't know what he was talking about. Good luck, Chuck. Says same thing is happening to Alabama. New coaches don't know the true winning culture, and it shows. Have to vet coaches and ensure they know the standard you play with.
I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing. I mean,
I
Bill
don't think
O'Brien
it's the same thing.
yeah. I mean, Bill O'Brien has Pete Golding has been there, for several years.
Several
now.
years, right? Like 3 years now. 3, 4?
Yeah,
Something like
that.
I
think. And Bill O'Brien obviously is. I think it's a different thing because Bill O'Brien has NFL coaching experience. I mean, it's a little bit of a different situation. It's not like they have guys. Alabama has guys in right now that don't know what they're doing or have no experience.
Yeah, let's be honest.
I'm not saying that Clemson's coordinators necessarily don't know what they're doing, but there's not that inexperience factor there.
They don't have any experience compared to the Alabama coordinators. Right. I mean, let's be completely honest. They don't. Yes, they have been grown up within the Clemson system. They have, been through the ranks at Clemson, but at the same time, they're just dudes. They don't have any coordinator experience. And yes, they are following some guys that brought a lot of success to Clemson, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can take the reins and do what you need to do. So it is what it is.
Gets in more crossing routes, and for goodness sake, enough bubble screens, use the run game. Yeah, I'm with you.
Thank you.
Tired, I'm certainly tired of the screen passes that aren't.
Use the running game.
They get blown up every play.
Do crossing routes. Good God. I mean, if we can see it, everybody can see it. So we agree. We absolutely agree. It's insane. So whatever. We'll see what the coaching staff does this weekend.
What else? Before let's highlight one more.
Yeah, let's highlight 1 or 2 more, and then we'll get into the score predictions.
John says, getting too late to develop Cade. They made the choice right around the end of the Georgia Tech game that DJ would get it all. Now they should play Cade just to prevent a total catastrophe if he's needed. Yeah, I mean,
that's interesting.
It wouldn't be too. I wouldn't necessarily say it's too late, but if this team could show the ability to build a lead comfortably and actually give Cade a chance to come in where he doesn't actually have to, make plays to win the game because the game's already in hand. We haven't really had that, since what, the Louisiana Tech game, and that was a mistake. That ended up being a mistake. I remember because, he went 3 and out. The Louisiana Tech scored that touchdown, and all of a sudden it was a 14-point game, and it was a little too close for comfort. You had to put DJ back in. So I just, it's their whole plan for Cade has been a little strange. Just kind of when they've chosen to put him in and the situations in which they've put him in.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
I don't know if they've been helpful.
Out.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Doesn't seem like it's helpful.
Like putting a guy in on the 5-yard line in that Notre Dame game. That's reckless. And then he throws an interception, and you completely pull him out. Like what message are you sending in that moment, right? I mean, it's not a good one. I can tell you that. I want to highlight a few more, Jordan. Where it says, outside of Streeter, be the OC at Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all Streeter had, and it's just a much different. Richmond is an FCS school, and making that jump from that to being an offensive coordinator at a major Power 5 program is
tough, man.
It's a huge step up.
That's not easy. Do we spend too little time in the weight room? Notre Dame pushed us around like a bunch of girls out there.
I don't think it was a strength issue for either side of the ball, really.
I don't either.
Honestly, I think it was. I mean, there were a lot of issues. I think there were some technique issues with the offensive line guys, not necessarily their hand placement and stuff like that. And on defense, it was just guys just being flat out of position.
I think it's coaching. It's coaching.
There's a difference between just strength. I don't think there's a strength issue for either side of the ball. It's just there's a difference between being strong and being physical. I don't think there's a strength issue. I think there was a physical on both sides of the ball, and that's really the difference. And that's kind of where issues lie. The way I see it is, physicality is how you use your strength, and strength obviously is just having the ability to move a certain amount, and it's just a different thing.
Absolutely.
We weren't very physical on either side of the ball.
Absolutely. You make good points, Jordan. All right, so let's move on to our score prediction. Okay, Jordan, let's move on to our score prediction. We have kind of exhausted this preview show. We've talked about Clemson. We've talked about Louisville. We've talked about how we are both confident and non-confident in our team right now. We're not quite sure what version of Clemson will show up. We're not quite sure of what Clemson coaching staff will show up. And we've talked about a lot of the issues with the program, okay? But let's get to our score prediction. The spread is Clemson -7. The over-under is 52. So what are you feeling with that over-under, Jordan? You feeling the under? Or you feeling the over? What do you think?
I kind of like the over a little.
You like the over? Okay,
I
All
do.
Right, good. Without getting into your score prediction, tell me why you think why you like the over.
I think part of it is I kind of have a feeling both teams are going to get theirs, and that kind of may give you an idea of where I think this score is going to go. I don't think it's going to be a shootout or anything, but I'm going to go. I do think that the Clemson offense will improve, and I think they're going to, I think they're going to be able to establish the run here. The problem is I am a little worried that Louisville is going to have some success running the football. And it's just because maybe it's just the bad taste that last week left in my mouth, but I don't know. If guys are not, in position, if they throw a lot at you, this Clemson defense was a lot better last season, and they struggled stopping this offense.
Yeah. So
I
what's
don't
your
know.
score prediction?
I haven't.
So
I haven't given it yet.
over under. You're taking the over. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just making over under predictions right now.
I'm gonna go Clemson 30, Louisville 24. No, not 20. No, that was the same score as last year. I'm gonna go 30-27. Louisville. I'm sorry, not Louisville. Clemson.
Well, goddamn.
No, I'm 30-27 Clemson. So I do think Louisville is going to. Okay. It's hard for me to take Clemson and the points here.
Yeah,
I do think they're going to present some issues for Clemson up front, and so it's just. And I do think they're going to have some success offensively.
Yeah. For all of you in the comment section, Jordan is taking the over. He's saying it's going to be 30-27 Clemson's win. Okay, yep. So he's saying there's going to be 57 points. Okay, over under is 52. He's saying there's going to be 57 total points, and he will take the over with this over under. Get your comments in the comment section. Tell us what your score prediction is. Tell us whether you're taking the over or the under, and give us your score prediction. Let me get in with Smitty. Smitty's going. He said he's taking the under, and DeAndre said he's taking the under as well. So DeAndre gets in. He said he's taking 30-17 Clemson. Smitty is taking a 35-10 Clemson win. So everybody's Clemson. All right, everybody's picking Clemson so far. Let me mark these down in my registry here. 30-17 for DeAndre and 35-10 for Smitty.
He's going 35-10 Clemson.
35-10 Clemson. 35-10 Clemson.
If Clemson wins 35-10, I feel a lot better.
I would feel really good.
Yeah.
If that was the case.
I hope to God that happens.
All right, so I'm going to give my score prediction now. I'm going to go way under. Okay. I'm going to go 21-17.
Clemson.
Yeah. I'm going to go 21-17 Clemson. I don't trust Clemson's offense at all.
And honestly, I don't either. But the over me picking the over was purely my mind tells me to take the under, but it's kind of a gut thing. I can't.
Yeah, really, I believe it.
Something tells me it just this team hasn't made sense a lot of the year, and it would not surprise me if they.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if
got points
Louisville came out and came completely flat. They are the most unpredictable team this season, minus these 4-game run that Louisville has been on. They have been absolutely terrible this season, okay? Yes, they did produce 8 turnovers against Wake Forest. They have been on a 4-game winning streak. But they could come out here and be absolutely terrible. I don't care. I don't trust this Clemson offense. I don't trust this Clemson coaching staff to get this Clemson team ready and capable of blowing out a team like Louisville, even though I think Clemson should absolutely blow out a team like Louisville. I'm going to go 21-17. We're going to win by a field goal. I'm taking the under. I'm taking Louisville to cover.
Hold on. Wait, 21. So you think they win by a field? So 21-17 is 4 points.
4 points. Sorry. Yeah, 4 points. We win by less than the spread. Okay. Clemson does not cover. We win by 4 points. 21-17. I take Louisville to cover the spread. I take Clemson to win by a very close margin. And I look for Clemson to have to answer a lot of questions after this Louisville game, as they should. I think Dabo Swinney is truly going to have to answer a lot of hard questions this offseason. I think he's going to have to make some tough decisions. That's my opinion. Maybe if they go, 13-1, they won't have to. But honestly, I do believe he's going to have to make some changes this offseason. And I hope he realizes that, we're not the enemy. Clemson fans are not the enemy. Look, like a standard has been set. We're going to hold you to that standard. I feel like that's our job as fans, is to hold you to the standard that you set for us. You said, Dabo, you said best is the standard, right? You said best is the standard. This is not best. This is 100% not best. So we pay you a whole lot of money to fix it. So those are my thoughts, man. You got any final thoughts, Jordan?
No, I mean I've said my piece. I'm not over completely just done with this coaching staff, but I do think they're gonna have to show some stuff. These last 4 or 5 games.
I'm not either. Like don't get me wrong. I don't think I think this coaching staff may be redeemable, but they're gonna have to show some things. Like this, as currently constructed, if they keep going in the direction they have been going, no, they ain't it. We gotta go another way. And I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But if they do recover and they do, kind of get their bearings and their stuff together, if you will, I'm completely behind it. But Dabo Swinney is the one that set best as the standard. So don't go backtracking on it now. Don't say that social media is the reason that Clemson fans are ungrateful now. No, Dabo. You set the standard. You set the expectation. When you won your first ACC championship in this league, you were not satisfied. So don't be satisfied now, because we're not either. We're looking for the next championship, much like you should be. So, don't get upset with fans when you set the precedents. Thoughts, Jordan?
Yeah. It's I
know I left you in a tough spot there, but I'm tired. I'm tired of the coach speak and the coach rhetoric and the social media is the big bad boogeyman and nobody's satisfied with anything. No. I didn't hear you talking about this is the top of the mountain when you won your first ACC championship. So don't talk about it now like it's the top of the mountain, because it's not.
This. I think this team. I mean, this staff knows the issues that are going on right now, and that I mean, it's clearly obvious. Again, this coaching staff is going to have to, they have some stuff to prove. This as they close out this season. The performances are going to, go a long way to determining whether or not, there's things to be excited for. I mean, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, I do want to take a step back. This is, Clemson they've lost one game.
Yeah, absolutely. We're 8-1.
Right.
We're not falling apart yet. But
there's a lot to still a lot to play for.
Absolutely. Look,
I've said my piece.
Yeah, we still have an Atlantic Coast Conference championship to win outright, right? So we can win the Atlantic Division outright if we beat Louisville, right? We can win the ACC championship game, and we can win our closeout game, whether that be a New Year's Six Bowl or whether that be a playoff game into a national championship. So this team still has a lot to play for. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying there's vast room for improvement. And if we ever lose sight of that, and if Clemson ever loses that hunger, then we're going to regress back to a team that we don't want to be anymore. All these people that say, the common argument, and this is what I have a problem with, Jordan, and most people would tell you this, right? Because you're a current student, right? And they'd be like, oh, well, you're a spoiled Clemson fan, and you've only known Clemson because they have won and blah, 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 right? What I would say to that fan is, the reason we're so critical of the Clemson team is because we don't want to go back to that. It's not necessarily that we haven't lived through the hard times of, before the Bowden-airs and then into the Bowden-airs where we always lost games seemingly when we weren't supposed to. And then when we did go into big games, we got completely embarrassed. It wasn't because we haven't lived through that. It's because we don't want to go back to that. So, we do have perspective. We do know that Clemson is still one of the most elite programs in the country. But we want to keep being one of the most elite programs in the country. And that only happens with moving forward, never being complacent. So that's my thoughts. I didn't mean to get into all that. I don't know how I got in on that tangent. I'm sorry, Jordan.
I got to go to bed.
I got to go to bed. You got to go to bed. You got school in the morning. I got work in the morning. Look, bro, we got stuff to do. But thank you to all of our fans in the comment section. Thank you for all the people that have been here strong. Thank you for all the people that have been here since day one that we started this live show. We appreciate all you guys, okay? We will be back this Saturday, okay? Clemson plays at 3:30, so we'll probably be live around, what do you say, Jordan? Probably 7?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, give or take 7 o'clock, right? Immediately following the Clemson game this Saturday against Louisville, me, Jordan, and the rest of the panel, we will be here for a live post-game reaction here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. We'll be here to talk to you guys. We'll be here to vent. We may be screaming and yelling. We may be super happy because, we finally got our stuff together and completely destroyed a team that we should. But that is yet to be seen. And I look forward to talking to you guys immediately following the Clemson game. Jordan, hey, tell them where they can find you. And then we'll get out of here.
Follow me on Twitter at Jobo0209.
Hey, shout out to Jordan Bowman's Twitter. It's underrated. You guys should all go follow him right now. And if you haven't followed him already, you're wrong. Okay? Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm, mainly post about Clemson. So if you guys want to give me a follow there, that would be cool. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this is a lot of fun to do, and yeah, we will see you guys on Saturday for the post game reaction. Hopefully, a better one than the last one.
It better be a better one than the last one. And WB2X2DX, yes, the game is on ESPN. It's at 3:30. Okay, we'll probably be on here at around 7, give or take. How many ever plays they review and how long the game is. Follow Jordan on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel. Tiger Paul Craven is my YouTube channel. And yeah, follow us here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. We are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers before the end of this season. Okay, we're starting to get close. Please help us out. Like our videos, share our videos, and tell your friends about us. Okay, if we're going to preview a team that they care about, tell them to come in. We more than welcome everybody to come in. If we lose to their team, tell them to come in. If we beat their team, tell them to come in. Okay? We will try to get to each and every comment that we can get to. Okay? You guys see the comment, our Jordan Bowman's handle for Twitter in there, Jobo0209. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. Okay? He posts a lot of great stuff. Okay, guys? We try to do as much as we can to bring you the best show possible. Thank you guys for showing up. You guys are amazing. We'll see you on Saturday at around 7 o'clock. Go Tigers.
Later, guys.